Hi, I'm Ken Rosenthal, park naturalist with Gulf Branch Nature Center, and I think you can already hear what this week's 5-minute find is. I'm out at the pond, and I'm listening to our wood frogs chorus as they call and look for mates. It's a nice warm day today, and by warm, it's upper 40s, maybe low 50s, but the radiation from the sun is really warming things up, and you can see there's a lot of activity in the pond. All those ripples are from frogs calling or moving around. Wood frogs are one of our more secretive species. They spend most of their time in moist woods or near moist woods where they hang out under leaf litter, logs, rocks, those sorts of things. They only come to the pond once a year, and that's to mate. Usually during or after winter rain, when the temperature gets above 50 and it's nice and wet and they've got a good path to the pond, they make a pretty big movement to go there. You can hear they're really calling today. They're pretty loud. One of the neat things you'll see if you can notice one, I'm going to see if I can get a little bit closer to one that's close here. They have paired vocal sacs, so instead of one vocal sac, like I think most people are used to seeing, they actually have two that are on either side of their head when they call. Most of the frogs you see here are frogs that hatched from this pond before. And so they're going to continue to return to the same pond. So I stood up and it got really quiet, but several large crows also flew in, and I think that made the frogs nervous as well. Oh, there's a few on the other side that'll call. Get the chorus started again. This is a feast for some carnivores. Mammals like I think red fox and raccoon certainly, but also birds like barred owls at night and red-shouldered hawks during the day will take advantage of this brief feast and feed on as many of the frogs as they can. Females coming into the pond are gravid and full of eggs, and so they will be an extra good source of nutrition for one of those predators. So for the week or two that they're here, and it's a very brief period when the frogs will be calling and mating in the pond, there are many predators that will take advantage of this. Now, of course, if you're mating, the whole point of mating is to lay some eggs. We've got over 100 egg masses that we've already found in the pond here. Let me get close because I want to show you this one right here. So this is an egg mass, and it looks really compact. And what's happened is this has been laid recently, and so the eggs haven't completely expanded yet. The eggs aren't at full size in the female frog because that would be a lot of room that she would need for those eggs. So they're a little compressed, but they rapidly soak up water as soon as they're laid in the pond water. And over here, I'll show you several older egg masses that have been sitting here for a few days. And these are all egg masses from the wood frogs. Each egg mass represents one mating, so there's one female for each of these egg masses. You see, we've got quite a few here today. So the chorus has stopped, and it's probably a combination of myself and several crows that are flying around, and they've been quite loud and been flying over the pond, which I'm sure is making the frogs nervous. Like that crow right there. What's really neat about these frogs, again, is they spend most of their year under leaves, under logs, under rocks, out in the woods. They only come to the pond once. They're here for a week to 2 weeks, depending on the weather and how quickly the mating gets finished. They lay eggs and then they're out. The eggs will hatch maybe in another month or so, and then in less than 2 months, the tadpoles will grow and consume enough food to metamorphose into tiny frogs. They go quickly because they typically use vernal pools or ephemeral pools. They use water that's going to dry up at some point, so that there's less of a chance of fish being in that water, which means you don't have fish or the larger predators, and so there's less predators to feed on the tadpoles and on the adults. So that's a really a big advantage to using this. So it's a really good reason to protect these kinds of pools that dry up for part of the year. That even though they don't have fish, they are a host to many other animals, like the wood frogs and the spotted salamanders, which also come in but don't make noise, so people don't notice them nearly as much. But they use this pond in much the same way as a great nursery for their young because there's no predators to eat them. So thanks for joining me this week for the 5-Minute Find. I hope you have a chance to come down here and catch the frogs show before it's gone. It won't last much longer. They've been here a week. Today is March 4th. When this goes up, it'll be March 5th. So you might have a few days left over the weekend if you want to check them out before they're gone for another year. Thanks and have a great day.